Okay, continuing here at Oasis Mastering with Gene Grimaldi. I know you guys got a lot out of that last one, and we're going to continue some of these concepts and subjects and go a little bit deeper dive on this. So here we go. Gene,
What's up?
what's up, man? I see you got the same clothes on you had last week, and so do I. Let's jump right in. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. On my stuff, every once in a while, you'll politely say that maybe you could do a little more with what I've given you if I take this track or that track and kind of don't compress it quite as much. What was it about that particular element that you thought could be improved? Would it be the way it's poking into the mix and staying in the forefront?
If it's too much compression, then maybe it needs to breathe a little more so I can poke out and stab. Maybe get a snare to pop
I got
more, or maybe get the kick to pop more, or just let it breathe a little more and let me close it down just a little bit. Because
Cool.
when
You've
you're
always beat what I've done when you asked that, so I appreciate
yeah,
you doing that.
that's kind of
You know what? I'm gonna stop you, Gene, because this reminds me of something, guys. I think you should have a relationship with your mastering engineer because I respect Gene and all the guys I work with, and I love it when they tell me that they can do their job better if I give them the tools to do it better, and I think that's a very valuable asset and commodity for me. In fact, going all the way back to your mentor and mine, Eddie Schreier, who is the founder of Oasis and still our leader, Eddie would, when I first moved to LA, he would critique my mixes for me. I could take them to him before I was going to show them to anybody else, and he'd suggest things, and when he'd master a record that he thought was spectacular, he'd call me up and let me listen to it, and he'd compare it and tell me why it was better than mine, and not just in having a mastering friend, but just having a colleague to work with or several. And there's internet places where you can do that too. But Ben, while we're talking about this, thanks for doing
Yeah.
that for me because that helps me so much because I've been struggling with how to approach the stereo bus in terms of limiting and compression. And I've learned a lot from you in that area.
I mean, hey, I learned a lot from Ed critiquing my mastering too, so it's the same way.
Do you have a
It's like-
particular philosophy about the stereo bus?
I don't mind two bus compression and a little bit of EQ on it as long as it's not heavily compressed and it doesn't have like L2 limiters on it.
Because I've given you some stuff that's just clamped down.
And I asked for you to take it off, right?
Rightly, yeah, though.
No, I know. Because I think maybe you're
But
doing
I'm getting
less.
better.
Yeah,
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
Because now I know how to clamp it without clamping it. I don't know if that makes any sense. Well, I don't want this show to be about me, guys. One of the things I like about Gene is Gene references other material, sometimes in the context of what he's working on, but mostly just he's just a fan of music. Always has CDs around. Always listening to music. How do you?
I love reffing. Yeah.
Okay, is that
Yeah.
common with mastering engineers? From my perspective, it's not.
It helps with the balance, when it's something that I'm working on. A lot of bands and artists chase everyone else, right? And it needs to be in a certain place, and that's kind of why I use ref.
Okay.
That's why I ref. At times.
I ref like more than anybody on the planet.
I know you got so many. You got more files than I do on CDs.
I've got friends, including yourself, that just look. Your RAM stores your references so well. Like if I blink, my RAM's erased, so I have to go listen to something else.
It's good to know what not to do at times. When you hear something, you just say, "Oh God, how did my clients?" I could never do that with my clients. They would kill me, because I hear something that's over compressed or it's just tearing your head off. It's like.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
That speaks to the point
Yeah.
about having relationships between mastering and mixing. How have the tools that you use changed in terms of the way you use them and the tools themselves? You can do way more now than you could.
Yeah, software to me is so precise.
So you've incorporated some software in your workflow.
Yeah. I use it. I use a lot of software now.
Cool.
Yeah.
What are some plugins that someone might have at home that's not a pro and it's more of an amateur? Are there any common plugins or common forms of plugins that you can recommend for them?
You just
Let me say it backwards.
Okay.
Could you take like $100 EQ plugin and make a good record with it? I'm gonna answer that for you. I know
That's
you could.
a challenge, right? Yeah.
Nah, I know you could.
You know what? Probably. I
think
probably
you could.
could make it sound good.
I know you could.
You know, I probably could make something sound good. I may have to use it many times, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I like to use multiple plugins.
Do you separate a need for being surgical and being broadband? Do you use different tools or use the same tool?
It all depends on the mix.
It does.
Yeah, I'll use the same plugins. You know, I don't usually deviate too much because I know them so well, and it's part of my sound. So that's what I use.
If you were to have to go to my room down the hall and master a record, and you'd never been in my room before, what do you think would be different?
I've been in your room before.
I know you have, but
I started in that room.
But the room's kind of important, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys aren't as mobile as we are you?
No. Now, once mastering guys are usually lifers, you know, for the most part in their room. Yeah.
In terms of speakers, when same thing, right? You get used to a set of speakers and
Just stay with it. Yeah.
just stay with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would take a minute or two, you know, a lot of car checks if I was to go into your room and start.
You do car checks like I do?
I do car checks.
No joke. That's so cool.
I take a CD home every night.
So we do so many things alike. I could be a mastering engineer, right?
Yeah, come on in.
No, you lying. You know I can't. I just don't have that. We hear different.
Yeah.
Not better or worse. But we just hear different. Gene, man, thanks for doing this with us, man. I have the luxury of talking to you every day, sometimes more than I probably should, and you always have been generous answering questions. And I felt like we were hanging out in your room, and you answered a lot of questions that a lot of people wanted to know. And on behalf of all our buddies out there, thanks so much for doing that for us. I know you had to. You're the busiest guy in town. And you took some time out for us, and we really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me. Anytime, man.
My pleasure. You know what? Let's close with this, Gene. You just mentioned to me that you had a client that does a song a day, and you mastered 300 songs. 300, how many songs?
356. He released one a day last year. Tim Armstrong.
Oh, Tim.
Yeah.
I love Tim.
You know Tim.
Yeah, we did some Pink work together.
Yeah.
Man, that's kind of the future, isn't it?
I guess, yeah.
Releasing, keeping stuff on the internet all the time.
Yeah. Guys like that, man, they'll always be busy, you know.
Guys, you might think that Gene only works with the stars and the top guys, and you'd be right. But save those nickels and dimes and grab a mastering job from him. You'll learn a lot. He's a good cat. And this has been a pleasure for me. I hope you guys learned something from this. I know I did, and I hope you did too. So next time, thanks. Bye.